Welcome to Part A, Communication Skills for CBSE Grade 10. In this session, we'll explore key concepts and quick summary notes to help you understand and apply effective communication in real-life situations. Let's get started. Here are the topics we'll be covering in this lesson. First, an introduction to communication. Next, we explore verbal communication, followed by nonverbal and visual communication. We'll then look at the role of feedback and discuss barriers that affect effective communication. Finally, we'll build writing skills with a focus on sentences and grammar. In this section, we begin with an introduction to communication. We'll understand what communication really means, explore the communication process, and identify the key elements of the communication cycle. We'll also look at different methods of communication and learn how to choose the most effective method for any situation. Let's begin with the question, what is communication? The word communication comes from the Latin term communicare, meaning to share. Communication is simply the act of sharing information, ideas, or feelings with others. Why is it important? Effective communication is a key life skill. It helps us interact successfully in any job or business, whether we are dealing with customers, colleagues, or other stakeholders. Let's look at the communication process. Communication works through three main steps. First, transmitting. The sender shares a message using a medium like speaking or writing. Second, listening. The receiver hears and understands the message. And third, feedback. The receiver responds to confirm their understanding. Communication is only complete when the sender knows the message has been understood correctly. These are the key elements of the communication cycle. The sender begins with an idea, what they mean to say. This idea is then coded into a message using words, gestures, or visuals. The message travels through a channel, such as speaking, writing, or video. The receiver decodes the message to understand it. And effective communication happens only when both share a common understanding. Let's continue with the key elements of communication. First, the sender, the person who begins the communication. Second, the message, the information the sender wants to share. Third, the channel, the medium used to send that message, such as speech, email, or video. Fourth, the receiver, the person for whom the message is intended. And finally, feedback, the receiver's response that shows whether the message was understood. Now let's look at some common methods of communication. First, face-to-face communication. It's highly effective because it's clear, quick, and supported by body language. Second, email, a convenient and low-cost way to communicate with individuals or large groups. Third, notices and posters, useful for sharing information with many people, especially when email is not suitable. Fourth, business meetings, a formal method used to discuss organizational matters. And finally, other methods such as social media, phone calls, blogs, and newsletters. Choosing the right method of communication depends on several important factors. First, the target audience. Understanding who you are communicating with helps you pick the most suitable method. Second, cost. Some methods may require a higher budget than others. Third, the type of information, whether the message is confidential, simple, or complex. And finally, urgency, how quickly the message needs to reach the receiver. In this section, we will explore verbal communication. We'll look at the different types of verbal communication, understand their advantages and disadvantages, and learn strategies to help you master effective verbal communication in everyday situations. Verbal communication involves using sounds, words, language, and speech to share information and express emotions. It is one of the most common and effective ways we communicate in daily life, whether we are speaking to someone, discussing ideas, or expressing how we feel. Verbal communication can be grouped into four main types. First, interpersonal communication, a one-on-one conversation between two people, which may be formal or informal. Second, written communication, the use of written words such as letters, emails, reports, or messages. Third, small group communication. This happens when a few people interact together, like in team meetings or board discussions. And fourth, public communication, when one person addresses a large audience, such as in public speeches or election campaigns. Verbal communication has both advantages and disadvantages. One major advantage is that it is quick and easy, allowing you to exchange ideas and receive an immediate response. It also lets you adjust your message based on the other person's reactions. However, a disadvantage is that the meaning of words can sometimes be unclear or confusing if they are not chosen carefully. This can lead to misunderstandings. To master verbal communication, focus on three key skills. First, think before you speak. Plan what you want to say and choose the best way to express it. Second, be concise and clear. Speak at a steady pace, use simple language, and get straight to the point. And third, be confident. Maintain eye contact, keep a good posture, and communicate in a friendly and attentive manner. In this section, we'll explore nonverbal and visual communication. We will understand what nonverbal communication is, why it is important, and the different types that people use every day. We will also learn how visual communication helps convey messages through images, symbols, and design. Nonverbal communication is the exchange of information without using spoken or written words. Instead, it relies on gestures, facial expressions, posture, eye contact, and even touch to express meaning and emotions. Nonverbal communication plays a very important role in how we share and understand messages. In fact, a large part of our communication happens without words. As shown in the figure, verbal communication forms only a small portion, while nonverbal cues and visual elements make up the majority. This shows how powerful body language, expressions, and visuals are in conveying meaning. Studies show that most of our communication happens without words. Around 55% of meaning is conveyed through body language, our movements, facial expressions, and gestures. Another 38% comes from tone of voice and pauses. And surprisingly, only 7% of communication is through actual words. This is why understanding nonverbal cues is so important. It helps you read your audience's reactions and communicate more professionally. There are several types of nonverbal communication. First, facial expressions. Our face can show emotions like happiness, sadness, or anger, and these should match our words. Second, posture, the way we stand or sit. A straight posture shows confidence, while a slumped posture may show weakness. Third, gestures. movements of the hands or body used to express ideas. Fourth, touch. A firm handshake can show confidence, while a pat on the back can show encouragement. Fifth, space. The physical distance we maintain from others, depending on the formality of the relationship. Sixth, eye contact. Looking at the speaker shows you are attentive and engaged. And seventh, paralanguage. This includes how we speak, such as tone, speed, and volume. Visual communication refers to sharing information through images or pictures without using spoken or written words. Its biggest advantage is that it is easy to understand and works across different languages. Common examples include traffic signs like no entry or no parking, safety warnings such as danger or radiation signs, and everyday symbols like no mobile phone or CCTV surveillance icons. In this section, we'll explore the important role of feedback in communication. We will understand what feedback is, learn the characteristics of good feedback, and discuss why feedback is essential for improving communication and building strong relationships. Feedback is the response a receiver gives back to the sender, and it is a key part of effective communication. It helps confirm whether the message was received and understood, completing the communication cycle. Feedback can be positive, like praise, or negative, such as constructive criticism. Both help improve communication and understanding. Good feedback has several important characteristics. First, it should be specific. Instead of general statements, it offers clear examples. Second, it must be timely, because delayed feedback loses its impact. Third, good feedback is polite and respectful, ensuring the receiver does not feel offended. Fourth, it is helpful, offering suggestions or alternatives for improvement. And finally, good feedback is supportive, showing the receiver that you are willing to help them continue improving. Feedback plays a crucial role in effective communication. First, it validates listening. It reassures the sender that their message has been heard and understood. Second, feedback motivates. Positive feedback encourages people to continue performing well. Third, it boosts learning by helping individuals stay focused on their goals and improve their skills. And finally, feedback improves performance by offering constructive insights that help people make better decisions and grow. In this section, we will explore the barriers that prevent communication from being effective. We'll begin by understanding the 7 C's of effective communication, then look at the different types of communication barriers, and finally learn practical ways to overcome these barriers to ensure smoother and clearer communication. For communication to be truly effective, it should follow the 7 C's. First, the message must be clear, so it is easy to understand. Second, it should be concise, simple, and to the point. Third, the message should be concrete, using specific facts and clear words. Fourth, it must be correct, with accurate grammar and spelling. Fifth, it should be coherent, meaning it is logical and connected to the main topic. Sixth, the message should be complete, containing all the necessary information. And finally, communication should be courteous, showing respect, friendliness, and honesty. Communication barriers are obstacles that can cause misunderstanding or confusion. These barriers come in different forms: linguistic barriers, cultural barriers, physical and organizational barriers, and interpersonal barriers. Understanding these barriers is the first step toward improving communication and reducing miscommunication. let's continue exploring the barriers to communication. First, physical barriers include environmental factors such as noise, distance, or even a closed door that prevents smooth communication. Second, linguistic barriers occur when people struggle to understand each other due to language differences, jargon, slang, or regional dialects. Third, interpersonal barriers arise when personal issues, emotions, or hesitation, like stage fright, prevent the message from being understood correctly. Fourth, organizational barriers result from structural problems within an organization, such as strict rules or hierarchical systems that limit free communication. Finally, cultural barriers happen when differences in customs, beliefs, or values create misunderstandings. Recognizing these barriers helps us improve how we communicate with others. Now let's look at how we can overcome communication barriers. First, use simple and clear language so your message is easy to understand. Second, try to communicate in person whenever possible. Face-to-face interactions reduce confusion and build trust. Third, avoid making assumptions about someone's culture or background. Being open-minded helps prevent misunderstandings. Fourth, use visuals like charts, images, or diagrams to support your message and make it easier to grasp. Finally, always be respectful of others' opinions. Good communication depends on mutual respect and understanding. By applying these strategies, you can communicate more effectively in any situation. Welcome to Section 6, Writing Skills, Sentences and Grammar. In this module, we will focus on building strong foundational writing skills that help you communicate clearly and effectively. We'll begin by understanding how sentences and paragraphs are formed. Next, we'll explore basic grammar rules that guide correct writing. We'll also look at the parts of speech, the essential building blocks of any sentence. Then, we'll break down the parts of a sentence to understand how ideas are structured. Finally, we'll learn about different types of sentences and how each one is used to express meaning with clarity and purpose. These skills will help you write with confidence and accuracy. In this section, we will understand what sentences and paragraphs are. A sentence is a group of words that expresses a complete thought. It always begins with a capital letter and ends with a punctuation mark, such as a full stop, a question mark, or an exclamation mark. A paragraph is a collection of related sentences that focus on one central idea or theme. Each paragraph helps organize information clearly and makes writing easier to understand. Together, sentences and paragraphs form the foundation of effective writing. In this section, we look at some basic grammar rules that help improve writing clarity and correctness. First, capitalization. Using the TINS rule, we capitalize titles such as Mr. or Dr., the pronoun I, names of people, places, days, and months, and the starting letter of every sentence. Next, we have punctuation, which includes marks like the full stop, comma, question mark, exclamation mark, and apostrophe. These punctuation marks help separate ideas, show pauses, and make the meaning of sentences clear. These basic rules form the foundation of good grammar and effective writing. In this slide, we explore the parts of speech, the building blocks of every sentence. Words in a sentence are grouped based on the role they play. Let's begin with the core parts. A noun is a naming word, such as kavita or book. A pronoun replaces a noun, like she or he. An adjective describes a noun, for example, best-selling or red. A verb shows an action, such as buys or run. An adverb describes a verb, telling us how, when, or where something happens, like quickly or yesterday. Next, we have the supporting parts. Articles, like a, an, and the, come before nouns. Conjunctions join words or sentences. Examples include and, but, and because. Prepositions connect words to show relationships, such as in, on, or over. And finally, interjections express strong emotions, for example, wow or oh no. Understanding these parts of speech helps us form correct, meaningful, and well structured sentences. In this slide, we look at the main parts of a sentence, elements that help us understand how ideas are structured in English. Every complete sentence begins with a subject, the person or thing performing the action. Next is the verb, which tells us what action is happening. Then we have the object, the person or thing that receives the action. A direct object answers the question, what? It is acted on directly by the verb. An indirect object tells us to whom or for whom the action is done, receiving the benefit of the direct object. Understanding these parts helps in building clear and meaningful sentences. In this slide, we explore the different types of sentences based on voice and purpose. First, by voice. In an active voice sentence, the subject performs the action. For example, Ravi painted the house. In a passive voice sentence, the subject receives the action, such as, the house was painted by Ravi. Next, sentences can also be classified by purpose. A declarative sentence states a fact or gives information, ending with a full stop. An interrogative sentence asks a question and ends with a question mark. An exclamatory sentence expresses a strong emotion and ends with an exclamation mark. An imperative sentence gives a command, request, or advice and may end with a full stop or an exclamation mark. Understanding these types helps you choose the right tone and structure for your communication. Thank you for watching this session. The PDF for this presentation is available in the description box below. For more information or queries, feel free to contact us at contact@edushri. In. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more educational content. Your support helps us continue creating high-quality learning materials. Thank you once again, and see you in the next lesson.